The Lord said to Job, "Will the one who contends with the Almighty correct him? Let him who accuses God answer him." Some translations say, "Shall a fault finder contend with the Almighty?" Throughout the book, Job has insisted on his innocence, quite rightly, but he has implied repeatedly that therefore God is at fault for allowing him to suffer. No one, as we've noted before, no one has correctly maintained Job is righteous and innocent, as chapter 1 describes him, and God is perfect and pure, there is no darkness within him, and therefore the only logical, sensible conclusion is that what is happening here is not punishment. It is something else, for reasons that are beyond us. But God has other purposes here than to simply punish Job. Of course, the three friends have also gone wrong here, and God will tell them off in a moment. But for now, he's talking to Job, and he calls him a fault finder. But there is no fault within God. Job answered the Lord, "I am unworthy. How can I reply to you? I put my hand over my mouth. I spoke once, but I have no answer. Twice, but I will say no more." In the Bible, whenever anyone catches a glimpse of the glory of God, they simply melt in fear before him. When we see the extraordinary glory of the King of all kings, we will feel appropriately, reasonably, rightfully small. And that is what Job says here. "I am of small account. How can I reply to you?" Still, Job's brief response here does not end the divine discourse, and God again speaks from the whirlwind, and the challenge is even more alarming. "Brace yourself like a man. I will question you, and you shall answer me. Would you discredit my justice? Would you condemn me to justify yourself?" And this cuts right to the heart of all that has gone wrong in these earlier conversations. Job has silently, for the most part, but verbally at times, maintained his innocence to the expense of God's innocence. Well, God invites Job here to take his place and his position. He's saying here, if you are as perfect as you say, if you are as insightful and as knowledgeable as you claim, then surely we should switch places. If I am the sinner here and you are the sinless one, then by all means, continue ruling the universe, Job. Do you have an arm like God's? Can your voice thunder like his? Then adorn yourself with glory and splendor, and clothe yourself in honor and majesty. Unleash the fury of your wrath. Look at all who are proud and bring them low. We've seen over the previous 2 chapters that Job cannot understand the physical world, let alone rule over the physical world. Of course, he can't understand the spiritual world and then rule over that. But God does all these things at all times with perfect precision, with ultimate power, and according to his righteous character. Towards the end of the chapter, God introduces the first of 2 mysterious and magnificent creatures, this one simply called Behemoth. Verse 15, "Look at Behemoth, which I made along with you, and which feeds on grass like an ox. What strength it has in its loins, what power in the muscles of its belly. Its tail sways like a cedar. Its bones are then compared to bronze, and its limbs like iron. No human can contain him. The raging river does not alarm him. It seems that no one other than God would even dare to approach him. This is a truly terrifying creature, yet made by God, and for his particular purposes." You don't need me to tell you, but there is endless speculation about exactly which creature God is pointing at here. Some say it's simply a mythological creature, like a creature that represents the reality of danger and chaos that roams throughout the earth. But I tend to think that God is referring to a literal creature here for a few reasons. Firstly, every animal pointed at so far was literal, wasn't it? The ostrich, the eagle, and so on. Secondly, God says that he created the thing along with mankind. That's day 6 in the Genesis story, isn't it? Created on the same day. And then thirdly, God points to particular physical features of this animal and expects Job to know about them. So I think it's a literal creature, but no animal that we know of, at least, fits this description. Though there are animals that once lived upon this planet, whose bones have been uncovered and excavated and can be found in museums around the world, frankly, to me, this sounds like a sauropod of some type, like a diplodocus, for example. But you could do more reading on that issue for yourself if you would like. But the point is that this Behemoth is a mighty, terrifying, imposing creature of almost unimaginable proportions, its tail like a cedar tree. And yet it is subject to the living God, and its life is in his hands. How mighty does that make him? There are so many things in this world that Job cannot understand and certainly cannot control, but he should not therefore think that God is unable or not in control. God is the only one on the throne. He rules both physically and spiritually over the great and the small. When we encounter the chaotic or the unpredictable or the outright terrifying things of the world, we should remind ourselves that there is one who stands above it all, and our constant demand for explanations and insight must eventually give way to the humble recognition that God is God, and beside him there is no other.